You can't pressure a nervous system into growth, but you can regulate it into expansion. This is not philosophy, this is science. And if we keep misunderstanding biology, we will shame survival and call it failure. We've inherited a formula for growth, and most don't question it. If someone's struggling, we motivate them. If they fall behind, we push them harder. And if we don't see results fast enough, well, then we call it lack of discipline, lack of drive, lack of commitment. And we don't call it cruelty, we call it leadership. Which is wild, because if this worked, none of us would be burnt out, overwhelmed, or fantasizing about winning the lottery. And here's the theory I want you to consider that may change the way you view leadership forever. Sometimes performance is not a lack of motivation, it's a regulation problem. And we have built entire leadership models around applying more pressure. But we are human beings, we are not machines. We were not designed to withstand that level of psychological threat. We were wired for safety. And biology does not negotiate. So when the nervous system detects a threat, whether real or perceived, the brain does something very inconvenient for management. It relocates resources away from growth and towards survival. The prefrontal cortex, the very fancy part of the brain that's responsible for focus, creativity, and problem solving, literally goes offline. Translation: when someone doesn't feel safe, their brain literally loses access to the very capabilities we're demanding from it. As stress hormones increase, cognitive flexibility drops. That is not mindset, that is neuroscience 101. And when the body is in survival mode, it's not asking, how do I grow? It's asking, how do I not die today? And survival will always win. Not because of a lack of motivation, but because the body is doing what it was created to do. It's keeping us alive. So instead of getting frustrated, instead of asking why someone isn't performing, maybe we should ask, how does someone's nervous system respond in your presence? Strip away your good intentions and your goals. What does it feel like to be around you? Do people brace or do they breathe? Because your presence cannot be neutral. It either gives off one or two signals, either prove yourself or it's safe to be human here. And that signal can determine whether some people feel safe enough to grow. A large workforce study found that those living with PTSD miss on average 43 days of work a year. That's not laziness. That's the nervous system in overdrive. And when the body is trying to survive, it's not thinking about the next quarterly review or how much PTO time it has left. It's scanning the room for threats. And see if this sounds familiar, especially if you've worked in an office before. A few years ago, someone I care about started disappearing in plain sight. First, she stopped giving eye contact. Then she stopped speaking up at meetings. Towards the end, even her emails were short. So what did leadership do? What we were trained to do. Increase urgency, remind her of her expectations, offer support wrapped in more pressure. And not long after that, did I watch the light in her eyes go dim. Not because she didn't feel like she could do the job, but her nervous system had convinced her it was no longer safe enough to even try. Sometimes what looks like defiance is actually protection. And the body has 3 very predictable survival responses. Fight, they snap. Or flight, they avoid us. Or freeze, they just go blank. Almost like the deer in the headlights. And this is where we're going to shift this conversation. We were taught that the strongest leaders increase intensity, but the best leaders regulate. I want you to think of a scuba diver. A diver cannot survive underwater without a regulator. A regulator doesn't remove the pressure of the water from the ocean. It just makes it breathable. The ocean is still the ocean. It's just now it's survivable. That's what leadership is. Leadership isn't lowering expectations. Leadership is regulating pressure so people can breathe inside of it. And because of that, they can make smarter decisions. Because of that, they make risks, but if they make a mistake, they'll admit it quicker. And bossy leadership produces compliance. Compliance is cheap. Innovation is earned. So the next time someone is struggling, whether it's your kid, your partner, your employee, before you try to motivate, before you try to escalate, before you try to fix it, try this. See them not as a problem, but as a person overwhelmed, not unwilling. And then pause. Are you creating safety or are you applying more pressure? Because a nervous system cannot expand under pressure. But if you regulate it, if you steady it, if you become the regulator in the deep, dark sea, you won't just help them with their performance. You're giving people their brains back. And that is leadership. Thank you.